All right. Hi there, everyone. My name is Nitish. I work at Akuity as a software engineer. So this is a generally talk about introducing Argo CD CLI functionality with plugin support that eventually lets you build your custom plugins for now. So before we get started, let me just quickly give you an introduction about myself. So my name is Nitish. I work as a software engineer at Akuity. I'm also an Argo CD maintainer. I'm a CNCF ambassador. I did my LFX with Kubernetes project a couple of years back, and you can find me at all platforms at the rate Nitishbhai. And I'm also finally an undergraduate. So I'll probably be graduating in next couple of months. All right, so let's get started on this. So this proposal regarding adding Argo CD CLI plugin support, it was added by Christian Hernandez, which eventually lets you, build some sort of plugins to your Argo CD CLI. So that you can extend CLI's functionality without basically you going into Argo CD's code base and raising some sort of PRs to introduce your own subcommand. That's not what you need to do right now. So that was generally basically the proposal that was raised, and you can obviously scan that. And you can see what was the motivation behind adding this plugin support proposal. So let's get started. The first question that comes is, what is an Argo CD plugin? So you can think about Argo CD plugin concept similar to how kubectl has a plugin interface actually. Just want to know how many of you know the kubectl plugins here. Just raise your hands here. Okay, so for all of those who doesn't know about the kubectl plugins, it's just a way to extend your kubectl CLI's functionality that eventually lets you introduce your own subcommands without you going into the kubectl's code base, making changes there, raise a pull request, things sort of like that. That's what is a similar thing that we're going to do with the Argo CD. So if you want to have your own subcommands introduced to Argo CD, a normal process would involve for you is to go into Argo CD's code base, make changes there, add your whatever the things, raise a pull request, and then the maintainers are going to go through the feedback, and then you're obviously going to have your PR get merged and things like that. But with the plugin, it's like all you need to do is build your binary, put it in your path, absolute path, give it a specific name such as Argo CD hyphen, that's a prefix, so that it can differentiate that, okay, this is a specific plugin related to Argo CD only. And then that plugin is basically going to execute as a normal subcommand of Argo CD. So example, if you see Argo CD demo plugin or Argo CD demo hyphen plugin is a valid binary name, which will come to that. But what is an Argo CD plugin for now? It's basically a simple standalone executable file whose name actually begins with Argo CD hyphen, and it's going to actually reside in your system's absolute path. Now, the second question that comes is, what are the conditions for an Argo CD plugin? There are only 3 conditions that needs to be done here. The first is very simple. It's like the binary should always start with the Argo CD hyphen as the prefix name. So for example, if I come back here, if you see Argo CD hyphen demo hyphen plugin, it's actually a valid plugin name, but Argo CD hyphen demo plugin is also a valid binary name, but Argo CD underscore demo hyphen plugin is not a valid Argo CD plugin name. Why? Because right now you're starting with Argo CD underscore. That's not a valid plugin name. So if you have a binary, something called as Argo CD hyphen demo hyphen plugin, and you put it in the absolute path, this demo plugin is going to become a subcommand of your Argo CD. That's basically the simple use case that I can tell you for now. Second thing is the binary should always have the executable permission, otherwise it is going to get ignored. And the third, it's a condition is that it should reside in your system's path, but in the absolute path, not like a relative path. We'll be discussing that everything in the demo. I think that will make things more clear to us. The next thing, how you're going to name a plugin actually. So as I mentioned first thing, the Argo CD's plugin file name must always start with Argo CD hyphen. So it's basically something like this. So example, if you have Argo CD hyphen demo hyphen plugin hyphen demo, then demo hyphen plugin hyphen demo is going to become the subcommand of Argo CD, and then you can obviously have your binaries, introduce certain subcommands, some sort of flags, whatever you want to. That's basically how you're going to name a plugin. But if you put a plugin's name something like Argo CD underscore and you expect it to work, it's not going to work because Argo CD underscore is actually not a valid binary name that's going to get recognized by Argo CD itself. So, for example, if you see, as I'm mentioning about Argo CD-demo plugin, that's how it's going to execute. So, if a plugin named Argo CD-demo-plugin, that's a binary name, if it is invoked, if it resides in your absolute path, if it satisfies all the three conditions, any user can actually execute this plugin in the form of this way. Argo CD, then the demo plugin, which is like the part after the Argo CD hyphen, it's going to become your subcommand, and then whatever your installed binary is going to have argument flags, it's going to get executed as it is. The problem that we're solving here is that if you were to do the same thing here, you would typically go to the Argo CD's code base, make changes there, and raise some sort of pull request. And Argo CD also has some sort of like other extensions as well, such as autopilot or maybe some sort of lovely plugin that was built. So we want a standardized way that eventually, make this available to users without eventually raising a pull request and then going through the feedback loop process again and again. Coming to the question about what are the limitations of plugin, the first limitation, I think the only limitation that we have is right now is that it is currently not possible to create plugins that overwrite existing Argo CD commands. So, for example, if you create a plugin, what I mean to say is that if you have a binary installed on your absolute path called as Argo CD-version, so this version, you think that this version is going to become your subcommand of Argo CD. But if you look carefully, Argo CD already has a normal subcommand version. So the normal Argo CD command is always going to take a precedence. It's always going to take a priority over what your binary has if the name conflicts. So if you build a binary, something like of your own, such as Argo CD-version, it's not going to get executed. The normal subcommand is always going to get executed, which is Argo CD version in this case. Due to this limitation, it is also not possible to use plugins to add new subcommand to existing Argo CD commands. So what I mean to say is that you already have some sort of like Argo CD cluster list command, but what if you want to add your own command such as Argo CD cluster upgrade? The problem with this is that your binary is going to have a name, some sort of Argo CD-cluster-upgrade. But what is going to happen is that Argo CD is going to check whether that Argo CD cluster command exists or not. If it exists, that's what the command is going to get executed. So right now, it's not possible to basically introduce your new subcommands that eventually matches with the same name. But when I said that you can obviously introduce your new subcommands, what I mean to say was that you can possibly change your binary name to whatever you want to, and then you can execute it as a normal subcommand. But if you're like, I want to execute as a normal, I want to give it a name similar to what Argo CD subcommand what a normal Argo CD subcommand has, it's not going to get executed. Why? Because the normal Argo CD command is always going to take precedence over your built binary, which we're going to take a look at the demo. Okay, let's come to this one. So we at Akuity have actually built this. It's in pre-alpha stage. We have actually built this demo plugin, which we called as MTA, that eventually lets you convert your Flux components to Argo CD. So it eventually lets you migrate from your Flux components to Argo CD CRs. So obviously, I think you can obviously scan there, just go through the repository if you want to. And it's in pre-alpha stage, but we're going to show you a demo exactly of how this plugin mechanism works and how this MTA is going to work for you. Just letting you know that this feature of Argo CD, this hasn't been introduced yet. It's going to be in 3.1. It was actually delayed. We were planning to get it in 3.0, but due to certain reason, we had to postpone it for 3.1. So yeah, I think a lot of discussion. Let's go to the demo time right now, and we'll see a few things here now. Cool. All right. If I go back right now, if you see, I have actually in my absolute path a lot of plugins installed. When I say plugins, I mean the binaries installed. And you see that I have the every single sort of plugin is actually starting with Argo CD- in this case. So all these are the valid plugins. So if I go to the first one, so okay, just wanting to know that I am actually at the master branch of the project, basically on my peer. So if you see some sort of different behavior, that's possibly because of the changes that have been done on the Argo CD's master branch. But yeah, let's go. So when I say dist/argo cd, it's generally the inbuilt binary, the latest binary that we're just building from the master branch, or basically from my plugin branch. So let's get started. So when I said that, the first thing that we're going to do here is we're just trying to execute a simple binary called as dist/argo cd, and you obviously see that it's going to execute very simply. There's nothing different, obviously. Let's go to this one. Let's see what is it about. So if I go here, you see that I have built this binary called as the argo cd -cluster-list. If I try to execute it, it eventually should first print this line fetching the list of clusters. Then it should execute this command, and then some sort of behavior, whatever it wants to. So that's my custom binary that I have built right now. But do you think it's going to get executed if I simply try to? Obviously no, because how is this plugin going to execute it is this way. So everything after your some sort of cluster list, it's actually going to become your subcommands. If I go here, So okay. Anyways, if you see right now, what is happening right now is this plugin binary is actually getting executed. So if you see the fetching the list of clusters connected to Argo CD, that's what is happening right now. Initially, what we planned to do was when this feature was eventually rolled out, not rolled out, but when we were trying to discuss, we thought that instead of using this prefix like a hyphen sort of thing, we can execute the commands as it is. So that is the reason I thought it would not execute. But when you try to execute like this way, cluster-list, it's obviously going to get executed because there's no subcommand called as cluster-list in Argo CD. But if I try to probably, some sort of say that I'm going to create a binary called as this one, and I'm going to just do some sort of thing here, and I'm going to version.sh to just let me see. Okay, as you can see, I have this Argo CD -version installed. Oh yeah, you see that Argo CD -version is installed, but it's not going to get executed. The reason is very simple because if I say this, you see the plugin, the binary doesn't get executed. Why? Because this version is a normal subcommand. But let's get started now. And if I go to the MTA one, so this is my generally the this is basically the MTA subcommand that we generally have as a binary installed. So all these have its couple of subcommands, the customization and helm release. And eventually we're just trying to, first of all, apply some manifest here. If I simply say Argo CD MTA scan. So all this is basically coming from your binary. All these subcommands are coming from your binary. You see that I have basically two customization resources. That is a pod info and my customization that is present in the default namespace. I have a couple of helm release and basically in the default namespace as well. So the first question that I'm basically going to do right now is just convert this customization into the Argo CD compatible Argo CD CR right now. So right now we're talking about the customization. So you're going to pass the name of the customization. Let's say it's the pod info, and we're going to do that. And then the namespace is default. If you see right now, it's actually generated me some sort of an application set that is eventually matching how your the customization is going to look like. So if you want to take a look at how that looked like, I think this is the manifest. That was basically my simple manifest, what I just converted into an Argo CD CR right now. And if I go to the, let me just, right now, you can see that I also have another one, which is the customization. That is the pod info, which is present in the default namespace. So if I do the MTA scan again, I can see that this is present here, which is the pod info in the default namespace. If I simply try to convert this to my customization name is the pod info and the namespace is default, you can see obviously it's going to get converted here. That's going to get converted in the application set. If I do the similar thing for the Helm release, it's going to get converted to my application actually, not the application set. Basically, we're going to convert to application set for your customization, but for your Helm releases, we're going to convert to an application CR. That's something, because it's in pre-alpha stage, we're working currently on that, but that's something. So if I try to do this, I mean, there was, Helm release. Okay, I can simply do that. And you can see that if I go here, there was a Helm release that was present in the default namespace with the Helm release names, with the Helm release name that eventually got converted into this application. If you want to take a look at this one, I can show you how the manifest for this looked like. This was basically the manifest. It's like a simple Helm repository. And then you had this Helm release that was present here. And it's eventually referring a Helm repository in the pod info, basically. Yeah, and then we also had another Helm release, which was basically the pod info. If we want to convert the same to an Argo CD manifest, let me pod info and the namespace is default. Then it got converted here. So that's basically about your MTA. But the main, since it's in pre-alpha stage right now, I just want to let you know that I think right now, if anyone wants to play with it, I think one of the things that people might get excited about right now is we are introducing the plugin rather than MTA right now. MTA is just an example what we're telling about. But in simple terms, I think the plugin interface that we're introducing in 3.1, it's going to solve a lot of problems. But few suggestions that we would also need from the community is related to how would you want to handle this, your sort of flags behavior. Because right now what we are is, as a user, do you want to have your binaries work with normal Argo CD global flags? For example, you have a global flag, something like server, but would you want your binary to respect that flag, or would you want your binary to replace that existing value or not? That's something we are actually discussing about the community and with the community. And this is one of the reasons why this feature actually got delayed to 3.1, because we are still working on whether we should do that or not. But yeah, I mean, eventually that's it. Just concluding the things here, again, very simple. If I come back the slides here, these are the only three conditions. The binary should start with Argo CD hyphen. It should have the executable permissions and should always reside in the absolute paths. So, and yeah, if you have any plugins, some sort of Argo CD hyphen dash 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 dash, this dash 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 is going to become your normal subcommand, and then obviously going to get some binaries in, your flags, whatever you want to. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. I'm going to present a similar talk tomorrow at ArgoCon with much more detail. I know we had few time here, but I think if you want to just go through this talk again, I think a lot of people would be interested tomorrow at ArgoCon at Lightning Talk. So if you want to attend that, let me know, and I think we probably can discuss that. Thank you, everyone, for attending this talk, and looking forward to meeting you all at Rechex now.